Hello, Lisa.
Hello.
Can you hear me? Hello,
Nice to
Mike.
meet you, sir.
Good, good. How are you all doing? Just give me a minute, okay? Let me try to unmute your mic.
How are you?
I am doing good, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear.
Okay, good, good. Let me see. There is Sarah on the waiting
Can
list.
I have a question? Yeah.
Yes, please ask
Where
your
are you
question.
from?
I am from Cameroon.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
great.
And you, where are you from?
Come from Vietnam?
Oh, you're from Vietnam.
Yes.
Cool. Okay. Uh, I'm just trying to know, I'm just trying to make a roll call and to find out how many people are in class, okay? So just give me a moment and we
Hello,
should be...
teacher Ken.
Hello,
Can you hear me?
Lisa, how are you? Can you hear me? Okay. I see we have about 11 participants in class.
A little weak listening, so can you help everyone improve their listening skill, IELTS? Yeah.
Yes. So just give me a
Um,
moment. I'm gonna talk to you one after the other, and then give you some instructions on what to do on your screens. Hey, Lisa, how are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Hi.
I'm happy to see you.
Thank you.
Good. Is this Yuri? I want to make sure that all those people are able to see me and that I am able to see them as well, because I can't see their faces and I can't hear them talk. So if you're joining the class, everyone, make sure that you turn on your microphone and you also turn on your cameras so I can be able to see you and to hear you. All right. So hello.
wait for me to
Is this
transfer
Laura?
over the.
I can see Laura. I can see Justin. Okay. So this is Lisa. I can see Lisa. I can see Laura. This is Mai. Is that? Is Mai available? That is Hannah. Hannah Biggie. Is that? Hello. All right. We're just gonna start ahead with the class, and my hope is that as more people join our class, we should be able to help them get connected with their cameras and with their microphones as well. Okay, this one says he can't come on the camera, but he can turn on his microphone. The camera, I think, is optional. All right, good. So happy to meet every one of you. Welcome, Risa. I'm happy to meet you.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
happy to have you in our class today.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good. Okay. So today we're gonna continue with what I started last week with Pedro from Brazil. We're preparing ourselves for an IELTS test, an IELTS exam. Lots of people want to take the IELTS exam for various reasons, and they want to have somebody help them through preparing on how to approach that exam. And so I'm giving you this class today, and of course, a series of other classes to follow, so that you can get yourself prepared for an IELTS test. Um, let me have, I'm going to share my screen with you, okay? I'm going to share my screen with every one of you, and then we can get into the class. So I would like anyone on the team, anyone in class to just introduce themselves. Okay? You're going to have to introduce yourself so that the others can know, we can all know who is in class. You tell us your name, you tell us your country, and what you're doing. Your name, where you're from, that's your country, and what you're doing. Are you a student? Are you a worker? What are you doing? So let's begin with Risa.
Okay,
Good.
okay.
Yes.
So, teacher, my name is Risa Abdullahi. I am from Burkina Faso, but
Okay.
I live in Libya. I work in a private company as a sales manager. So
Okay.
I am here to improve my English.
Wonderful.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you,
teacher, for that.
Thank you. You're welcome. I'm happy to meet all of you. All right, let's go to our next person. This should be Nguyen. Is that? Am I pronouncing your name correctly? Nguyen. Let me see. That should be. Okay, Lisa. Let's listen to Lisa. Yes, Lisa. Yeah.
Yes. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Yeah. My name is Lisa. I'm from Vietnam. I'm a teacher of science and math. I work in our primary school.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
I can hear you. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Lisa. I can hear you.
And I am very glad to join this class with everybody. Thanks to inviting me for your class, Teacher Ken.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good. So I'm very happy to have you and to participate in my class. So I trust it's going to be a very interesting class. Okay. All right. Let's have. Is this Dustin? Dustin, are you there? Dustin June. I can see your face.
Yes, I hear.
All right. Good. Go ahead, Dustin. Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yes, my name is Justin. I'm currently a junior high school student. I live in and study in Hanoi, in Vietnam.
Okay.
I'm trying to improve the all skills,
Wonderful.
so I can get 7 points IELTS.
Okay. Good.
Thanks to the teacher for opening the class so that all skill can be improved.
Wonderful. Good. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
You're welcome. I can assure you that by the end of our lessons, we're going to have a series of them, by the way. I can assure you that by the end of our lessons, you will be able to hit beyond 7, okay?
Yeah,
so
thanks.
just stay concentrated and just stay focused and follow the lesson activities and instructions as we're going to give, all right? Let's go, and tell us where you're coming from and what you're doing, and of course your complete names.
Yeah, hi teacher. Yeah, I'm come from Vietnam. Yeah, and then next day I work as an accountant in Vietnam. Thank you
Good.
very much.
Good. You're very welcome, Sarah. Thanks a lot. All right, the introductions they're going to take a lot of our time, but I welcome everyone. We're going to get to know each other one after the other as time goes on and as the class unfolds, okay? So sorry if I'm not able to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself, but we're going to get to know each other over time. So let's go straight to our class. And please, I'm going to share my screen. And if you have you, I would ask you to leave the control of the screen to me so I can share it, and then we can be able to proceed with our class. Right? Can everyone see my screen?
Yes,
Good.
I see.
If you can see my screen, then that's fine. Good. So, what you see on the screen is the scheme of work that I have programmed for our IELTS preparation class. And as of last week, I had this general overview of the IELTS exam with Pedro from Brazil. And I am just going to go through that overview very swiftly and very fast, and then we can come concentrate on what I prepared for today's lesson. So I'm just going to go back very fast to what our class of last week looked like. So we kind of had a general overview of what the IELTS exam is about, and we reminded ourselves that the full wording for IELTS is International English Language Testing System. Another reason people take the IELTS exam is so they can go study abroad, and other people take the IELTS exam just so they can go work abroad. So whatever your purpose for taking the exam is just so you can do the 3 of these. And then the IELTS exam, we saw in our last class that it is basically a test for 4 skills, all right? When you take your IELTS exam, they want to test 4 main skills, and these main skills include your listening skills, your reading skills, your writing skills, and your speaking skills. So these are the 4 main things you're going to be tested for when you do an IELTS exam. And your IELTS exam, you take it because you want to have access to countries where English language is the mother tongue, or at least the official language. And some of these countries include the UK, Canada, the USA, Australia, and New Zealand. So if you want to have access to any of these countries, depending on the purpose for which you're going to those countries, you're going to be asked to take an IELTS exam or an IELTS test. And the structure of an IELTS exam varies depending on whether you're going to study or whether you're going for work. Basically, people who go to study are required to take an IELTS academic test. Okay, if you're going to do maybe a master's degree or a PhD, you want to have any of those kinds of degrees in a country where English language is the mother tongue or the official language, you're going to have to take an IELTS academic test. But if you're going for work purposes or you're going for secondary education, you will be expected to take an IELTS general training test. Now, these two are very important because you need to be able to know what kind of test you're taking, depending on what you're going to do in each of these countries. So if you're going to study, for example, if you're going for your master's degree or PhD, you don't want to take an IELTS general training test. Or if you're going for work purposes, you don't want to take an IELTS academic test. So always make sure you check with the program or the school or the training center that is giving out the IELTS certificate. Cross-check with them to be sure that you're taking the right and appropriate IELTS test. I'm not going to dwell more on these different types of IELTS tests because it's going to take a lot of our time, and that is not the purpose for which we prepared for this class. So I'm going to go straight down and zoom into our core purpose for today's class, which is the IELTS listening. So the IELTS listening class, let's see, it appears there's somebody out on the chat room. Let's let that person in. Okay, Aftab from Pakistan. Yeah, come in, Aftab. You admitted to class. Okay. So let us zoom into the listening part of an IELTS exam. Uh, oh, sorry. The listening part of an IELTS test consists of 4 sections. Okay. As of January 2020, these sections are now called parts. We no longer refer to them as sections, but as parts. And each of the parts has an audio recording with the corresponding questions and answer sheets for you to be able to jot down what you hear, what you understand from listening to the audio recording. You are expected to listen carefully to an audio recording once only. So you have just one chance to listen to an audio recording. And you're expected, after you listen to the audio recording, to complete 2 task types on your answer sheet by providing correct answers to 10 questions. 10 questions only per audio recording. And this is where we're going to focus for today's class. We want to focus on the structure of an IELTS listening test. Now, you're going to get to that IELTS exam for the listening section, and there are a number of things you have to get familiar with before you confront, before you come in contact, before you approach your IELTS listening test. So today, I want you to get familiarized with this particular section of the exam. And for that reason, my hope is that by the end of today's class, you should be able to differentiate between the introducer and the actual speakers or speakers in an IELTS listening test recording. So that's the first thing I hope that you should be able to grasp at the end of today's class. I want you to be able to differentiate between the introducer and the actual speaker or speakers in an IELTS listening test recording. The second thing, my hope is that by the end of the class, you should have been able to have a mental picture, okay? A mental picture of the structure of an IELTS listening test recording. You're going to listen to a recording. You want to find out how does it look like when they play the recording? What am I expected to listen to at what time within the recording? So we're going to look at all of that. So the third thing I want you to be able to grasp by the end of today's class is you should be able to make a difference between a monologue and a conversation, because the different recordings you're going to have will either be monologues or conversations. We're going to look at the details in our next slide. And the last thing I want you to grasp by the end of today's class is that you should be able to differentiate between subjects that relate to everyday social life and subjects that relate to education or academics. Subjects that relate to everyday social life and subjects that relate to education and academics. So now I'm going to take you back to where we paused for a while to look at what is contained in the IELTS listening test. To begin, let's look at the timing. The IELTS listening section of an IELTS test is scheduled to last 40 minutes only. You have 40 minutes for this section of the IELTS exam. And these 40 minutes are divided into 2. You have 30 minutes to listen to 4 audio tracks and note down your answers. So you have 30 minutes to listen to 4 audio tracks and note down your answers. And at the end of listening to all of the 4 audio tracks, you have 10 minutes to transfer your answers from the rough sheet in which you were jotting down your answers into your final answer sheet, which of course is going to be provided to you by your examining center. Now, the 4 audio recordings that you're going to listen to will consist of a conversation between 2 people set in an everyday social context. All right? So the first audio, let me highlight so you can be able to identify what I'm talking about. So the first audio recording you're going to have will consist of a conversation between 2 people set in an everyday social context. And the second recording you're going to have will consist of a monologue set in an everyday social context. It could be a speech, it could be about a local facility, but what you want to note is that it is a monologue. So take note that in the first recording you have a conversation, and in the second recording you have a monologue. We're going to delve deeper and explain what a monologue is and what a conversation is for those of you who might not know. So, the third recording you're going to have would be a conversation between up to 4 people set in an educational or training context. It could be a university tutor and a student discussing an assignment. Okay, those are just examples. And so here, you're also going to have, for the fourth recording, a monologue on an academic subject. And it could be exemplified by a university lecture given to students by a lecturer. What I want you to note also for this overall IELTS listening part is that as the audio recordings progress from 1 to 4, the contents to listen will get more and more difficult, which means that recording number 1 will look slightly simple, and recording number 2 will look a little bit difficult, and then recording number 3 more difficult, and recording number 4 more difficult to understand as far as the content is concerned. So my hope is that you're able to understand what we've done here so far. So I've been talking a lot, and I want students to talk as well. I want you to read so I can assure myself that you're able to see my screen and that you are paying attention. So I'm gonna ask Laura. Are you there, Laura? Can you please read this highlighted text for me and for the rest of the class as well?
My speaking is really not good, but I will try.
I understand you.
You will listen to the 4 recordings. As you listen to the recordings, take note and discuss the answer to the question below. First of all, take a look at the questions to know what you will be looking for.
Good, Laura. Your English is good.
Oh,
All
thank
right.
you.
So be encouraged. Your English is good, and you can make progress and improve. Okay. All right. Do we have Risa? Is Risa in class?
Yes, teacher, yes.
All right.
Yes.
Can you read the first 2 questions for us, please?
Okay, yes, okay. Question 1. What specific introduction does the introducer gives?
All right, come again.
2, what specific introductions
instructions
does the introducer introductions
instructions
sorry
good
yeah
good
okay what specific instruction does the instructor give?
The introducer
good. Introducer.
So
yeah.
what specific instructions does the introducer give?
The introducers give.
Good.
Question 2.
Yeah.
Question 2. How many speakers are there in this recording?
Wonderful, Risa. Very good. Let us have. Is Sarah there? Sarah, can you read the next? Can you read the next 2 sentences? The next 2 questions, please.
What is
Sarah? Is Sarah there? Let's see who else is available to read. Can someone up to read apart from Laura and Risa, who have already read? Okay, if there is no one else, I would ask Laura to read the third and the fourth question.
I'm going to read.
Oh, somebody's opting. Yes, go ahead. Is that Rika?
Uh, what is the speaker or speakers talking about?
Yeah, good. Number
Is
4.
this subject discussed in the recording?
Mm,
An everyday social life subject or an educational or academic subject?
wonderful, wonderful. Was that Rika? Am I pronouncing your name well? Is
No,
it Rika or Rika?
no, I'm Aftab Khan.
Ah, from Pakistan. Good,
Yeah, I'm from Pakistan.
wonderful. Welcome to the class.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Good. So these are the questions that these are these questions are going to guide us as we listen to a couple of recordings this class. And so as you take note of these questions and prepare yourself to take notes, I hope you have your pencils and pens with you to take down notes, okay? So take down notes
Yes.
as you attempt answers to every one of these questions. But before we get to that, I would just like to very briefly show you. Uh, I just want to move this text. I just want to briefly show you a picture of an IELTS listening test recording, because as you listen to the recording, you want to be able to know at what point am I within this recording. So the recording, I'm going to begin from here. You're going to have these text boxes that connect to each other uh, via these arrows. So it's like a U. So beginning from text box number 1 to text box number 11, we're going to go right down that way. So when the audio recording begins, you're going to have the introducer announcing the section or the parts of the listening test. And he's also going to introduce the subject of discussion, that is the topic, and then will also instruct candidates on what to do. So that is typically how an IELTS listening test recording begins. So there's an introducer who announces the section or the parts of the listening test. And then they introduce the subject of discussion as well. That is the topic. And then they also instruct candidates on what to do as they get ready to listen to the conversations or the monologues. And then a few seconds follow after that introduction by the introducer, all right? And when those few seconds pass by, you have the introducer come back and introduces the first part of the recording and then instruct candidates on what to do. And what follows then on step 4 is the main speaker or the main speakers begin talking. So it can be a monologue, it can be a conversation. So the conversation could be either a dialogue between 2 people or a conversation between 3 or 4 people. And what follows next is usually after the conversation between 2 or more people or the monologue, there is always a pause. All right. So the conversation or the monologue is always divided into 2 parts. So there is always a pause. After the pause, you have a few seconds of silence that follow, and then you have somebody, the very introducer who came at the beginning, comes back and then introduces the second part of the recording and then instructs candidates on what to do. And then this is followed by the main speakers whom we had over here on step 4. They come back to complete the second part of their conversation, which was paused at point 5 here. And then a few seconds follow, and the introducer comes back to instruct candidates on what to do after they finish listening to the second part of the conversation. And naturally, the conversation or the audio text ends at this point. So this was just a sketch I prepared for your to paint a kind of picture in your mind as you listen to the different audio recordings that we're going to listen. We're going to listen to 4 today. And as we listen to those 4, you're going to take note of all of these questions and note answers to them. And then we're going to have discussions, okay? to those of you who are still available and following the class. We're going to play one audio at a time. We're going to play the first one, and then we're going to come answer these questions, and then we're going to play the second one, and then we're going to come back to the same questions, then the third, then the fourth. All right? Let me come to, let me try to open this. And I will beckon you all to turn on the volumes of your devices. I don't know what devices you're using. If you're using a computer or an iPhone or a tablet, do well to turn on your volumes. I think there are some people on please let me welcome whoever is on the waiting room. Let's admit these people back. There's somebody sending a chat. Okay, I think that person has been admitted. So let me get back to sharing my screen. So if you're ready, I'm going to play the recording. And as that is happening, look at the questions and attempt to note down your answers to those questions. So this is recording number 1. If you're ready, I play. You have to follow this question.
Section 1. You will hear a man renting an apartment over the phone. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. You can see that there is an example that has been done for you. On this occasion only, the conversation relating to this will be played first.
Hello, how can I help you?
Hello, I want to rent an apartment. I saw your advertisement about 2-bedroom apartment on Bridge Street.
The woman answers the phone. Bridge Street, so the word bridge has been written on the top of the form. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully, and answer questions 1 to 5.
Hello, how can I help you?
Hello, I want to rent an apartment. I saw your advertisement about 2-bedroom apartment on Bridge Street.
Bridge Street 32, that's it?
Exactly. But I have a couple of questions.
Yes, I'm listening.
Does rent include all the utilities, such as gas, electricity, phone, etc.?
Yes, sure. You are only responsible to pay the rent. The lease includes cost for such utilities as gas, heat, water, electricity, and phone.
Great. And what about the internet?
Unfortunately, the internet is not connected. But you shouldn't worry about that. If you wish, you can contact the local providers to set up the connection.
Okay. And what kind of public transport is near the apartment?
It is very close to public transport. Both underground and bus station are about 2 blocks away.
Very good. I think I'll rent this apartment.
Very nice. Could you tell me your full name, please?
Yes. It's John Hooper. Hooper is spelled with double O. H-double-O. Then P-E-R.
Thank you, John. I'm Mary Dixon, and I'll be your apartment manager.
Thank you.
Now listen, and answer questions 6 to 10.
Now, we need to meet to sign a lease agreement.
Okay. What documents should I bring?
First of all, we require proof of your identity.
Then, I can bring my driving license.
I'm sorry, but driving licenses are not accepted. Could you bring your passport?
Yes, sure. And do you require a tax bill?
No, we are not requiring any bills. But you need to present your current employment contract.
No problem, I have it. Anything else?
Yes, we also need a reference from a friend or colleague, confirming your character.
Okay. And what about a reference from an employer?
We used to ask tenants for this reference a few years ago. But now we don't need it anymore. As well as your recent payslips, They are not required.
Very good. I think I have all the documents. Is it possible to meet you today?
Yes. Is 5:30 p.m. convenient for you?
Unfortunately, I'm busy until 6 p.m.
Then we can meet at 6:30 p.m.
Yes, 6:30 is very good for me. I'll be at your office by that time.
I think it's better to meet directly at your future apartment, because we'll anyway make a visit.
Oh, you're right. See you soon.
Thank you. See you soon.
That is the end of section 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
All right. That was the recording for section 1. And I want to be able to get feedback from you regarding what you were able to note down in response to these questions as you listened to the audio record. Oh, is Laura there?
Yes.
All right, good. Laura, what specific instructions does the introducer give? Can you remember?
He talked that we have some minutes to look at the question, and then the exam is done, and we can have the second listen. So we have to listen carefully.
Good. Very good, Laura. And let us have who else is available. I'm trying to see. Most of you, I really need to see your faces and not just the pictures, because if I can see your faces live, then I should be able to know you're following me. It's good. Here comes Lisa. Yeah, Lisa, number 2. How many speakers are there in this recording?
Yeah, I think 2 people, a woman and a man.
Good. 2 people, a woman and a man. Very good, Lisa. Who else is in class? I want to see. Because so far, all I can see is Risa, Lisa, and Laura. Who else is in class? I want to be able to see your face. Okay, let's go back to Lisa. Lisa, question number 3. What is the speaker or the speakers talking about? You already, okay. Maybe since you already gave us a summary of that, let's listen to some other person share their own understanding of the contents of the audio recording. So let's have Lisa. What do you think the speaker or the speakers are talking about?
Yeah, they are talking about renting apartment, and the man asks about the service, including gas, phone, public station, means of transportation, and internet. But the internet is not connect. If the man wants to connect, they need to connect with the locals, the manager,
Okay.
And then I think that the woman asks about identity card, but the driver's license driver is not accept. They need passport, and then they set up the time to meeting to see each other at 6:30 p.m.
Good. Very good, Lisa. That was a good recapitulation of the content of the recording. That's very good. Is Laura there?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes, yes.
All right, good.
Can you hear?
Good, I can hear you, Laura. Is the subject discussed in the recording an everyday social subject, social life subject?
Is it an everyday social life subject?
All right. You think it's an everyday social life subject, right?
Yes.
Good. And we want to differentiate between an everyday social life subject as against an educational academic subject by saying that an everyday social life subject would have to do with the kind of things that we do on a daily basis that are not school related, Um, if we were doing something that is educational or academic subject related, then we want to talk about activities within a school environment, within a classroom, probably a lecture that is taking place in a university hall or in a middle school classroom or anything educational between two people. Now let us listen to the second audio, the second recording, and then come back to these very questions and repeat the same exercise. Okay? So I'm gonna play the next recording for you to follow.
Section 2. You will hear the information about tickets to one of the royal palaces in London. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 16. As you listen to the first part of the talk, answer questions 11 to 16.
Thank you for deciding to visit historic royal palaces of the United Kingdom. Every year dozens of tourists choose to visit the Tower of London, and we have a variety of tickets to suit your own interests. If you wish to make a single visit, you can buy a single-day ticket. This ticket enables you to visit only the Tower of London. The adult ticket's cost is £24. Children between the ages of 5 and 15 pay £18, and children under 5 can visit the tower for free. For full-time students, 16 years and over, and disabled visitors, we offer a reduced tariff. If you have a reduced tariff, you pay only £19. And if you're going to make a visit with your family, it's a good idea to get a family ticket. The family ticket enables you to visit the tower and one other royal palace during one day. It costs £55 and can be used by up to 2 adults and 3 children. For permanent visitors, we offer an annual membership. The annual membership provides you unlimited entry to any 5 royal palaces and costs £107 for both adults and children over 5 years.
Now listen and answer questions 17 to 20.
If you can't wait to visit these famous historical places and have already chosen your ticket type, then it's time to order tickets. The first and the easiest way is to buy your tickets online. To do this, you should visit our site and select a date, then make a payment. Make sure that after the payment is completed, you receive a confirmation email of your booking. The second way is to book your tickets by telephone. However, you have to pay an additional fee when ordering tickets over the phone. Plus, telephone bookings are not available during the weekends and holidays. So this option is not very convenient. And if you don't want to plan your visit in advance, there is a third option for you. You can simply purchase the tickets in person on the day of your visit. There are plenty of ticket kiosks near the Tower of London and other royal palaces. I hope that you'll enjoy your visit.
That is the end of section 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
All right. That was it for the second recording. So let me get your feedback as you attempt to answer these 4 questions here. This time, let me begin with someone who has not spoken yet. Is there anyone in class who hasn't spoken yet? Can you please opt and let me know? Okay. I guess we just have 3 of you in class for now. So let's have Laura. Laura, question 1.
Is it the same as the section 1? And look at the question and listen carefully.
Good. So thank you very much for remarking that the instruction for the second recording is the same as the instructions for the first recording. So that is very unique with, as far as the IELTS listening test recordings are concerned. The instructions are always the same. But then you have to be keen and to pay attention. We never know at any time Those instructions could change. But for now, know that those instructions remain the same for all the recordings. All right, let's have Risa. Risa for question number 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Question number 2. The speaker mentioned what where to he mentioned the place where you want to visit, a place that that tourists should visit.
Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, he mentioned what he mentioned the thing what they should have. And
Risa?
Yeah.
Risa, how many speakers do we have in this recording?
One speaker, just one speaker.
Good. We have just one speaker in this recording.
One speaker, yeah.
All right, let's have I'm sorry. Let's have Lisa. Is Lisa there?
How many?
Lisa?
I'm here.
Yeah, Crystal. It appears we have Crystal, a new person.
What about
Are you there, Crystal?
Okay.
Yes.
Hello.
Okay, it would appear Lisa has left us. So, oh, Lisa's right there. Lisa number 3.
Okay.
Is Lisa with us?
I'm here.
Uh,
Are you coming?
hello, Lisa.
How many speakers?
For me, the audio recording of United Kingdom.
Can I try?
Can she see? All right. If she doesn't seem to follow us anymore, although I can see her. All right, let's get back to Laura. If Laura is still there. Laura?
Yeah, yes.
Good.
I'm
Question number 3. What is the speaker or the speakers talking about?
He's talking about the Royal of the London. Is it about a ticket for the single and family, and about the if you have the membership,
Okay.
and then it's talk about how to buy the ticket. It may be online or telephone, and the other I can hear.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Laura. Oh, here comes Pedro knocking. Welcome, Pedro. So, yeah, Risa, question number 4. Do you think that the subject discussed in this recording is an everyday social life subject or an educational or academic subject? Which of these two?
Everyday social life.
Okay, an everyday social life subject. Good. Yeah. So you notice from listening to these 2 recordings that they have a commonality and they have a difference as well. All right. Recording number 1 is a conversation between 2 people set in an everyday social life context, whereas the second recording is a monologue. That is, we have just one person talking. A monologue is a speech made by one person. So we have this one person talking about an everyday social life context, or subject rather. So those are the 2 things I want you to take note of in today's class. Making the differences between the various recordings that you will be listening in an IELTS listening test. Any questions so far before we proceed to the 3rd recording? Lisa, we seem to miss you, although I can see you, but I don't hear you.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Good. We wanted to hear you. We wanted to hear you on question. We wanted to hear you on
something. It's up and down, not straight forward.
Okay. Okay, good. Did you, however,
Yeah.
listen to the second recording, Lisa?
Yeah,
Okay.
I listened to a man talking about destinations of a place to introducing people to visit. It's in Royal Palace in London.
Okay.
And he talking about plenty of tickets for children, for family, for parents, for children from this age to another age.
Okay.
And then I hear that he say about the time to order payment first, completed payment, so we can put in via phone, but not available on the weekend or holidays.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, teacher.
Thank you very much for recapitulating all of that. Okay. So I'm going to go to our next recording, which is the third for the class.
Section 3. You will hear two students discussing their new course. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 23. As you listen to the first part of the conversation, answer questions 21 to 23.
Hi, Kate. How did you like the first lecture? Hi, Julie. You mean that lecture about brand identity? Exactly. When our professor described how brand names are created. As I understood, he'll teach us practical tips and techniques to create better brands. And what about course duration? I heard it's 5 weeks. No, 5 weeks is without the final project. The total duration is 7 weeks. Oh, I forgot about it. It's the first time I'll be doing a group project. And I'm a bit nervous to work in a 5-people team. I think it's going to be okay. He was talking about the right marketing strategy. Did you hear that? Yes, that was the most exciting part of the presentation. The key thing is to grab people's attention. That's true.
Now listen and answer questions 24 to 30.
And how do you like the curriculum? I think it's nice. It's great that we'll be learning marketing in detail, as I've always been interested in this subject. Me too. And after that, we'll be training to design custom logos. The professor told that the curriculum has been modified, and we won't learn design this year. What a pity. The same with product management. But you shouldn't worry, they just combined these two sections into a larger one called branding. Then it's good. Moreover, they've added something called e-commerce this year. It's a great alteration. And the course is kept up to date. Online trading is so popular now. And after that, we'll learn advertising. Yes. And also analytics. Really? Won't analytics be replaced with customer attraction? Yes, you're right. I forgot about that. I think that's all. The professor also teaches a course called Business Strategies. So, we may take his other course next year. Dear. And where is the next lecture? It's in the big classroom on the ground floor. Thanks. You're welcome. Don't forget to take your last week assignment. Okay. Goodbye. Bye.
That is the end of section 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
All right. So that was it for this third recording. I am sorry for the sound interruptions. Sometimes technology operates in ways that we cannot control. However, my hope is that you were able to listen to these third recordings, and so I will be happy to have your feedback.
Yes.
Good. Yeah, is this Lisa or Laura? Yeah, who is ready to share with us question number 1? Is it the same like in the first 2 recordings?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. Good. So it's the same, it's unique. No changes. How about question number 2? Laura, how many speakers do we have in the recording?
There are 2 speakers.
Okay, there are 2
They are
speakers.
students.
Students, okay. Are they male or female students? Are they male or female students, Laura?
They are female.
Okay, they are female students. Good. All right. So what is the subject of discussion? What are the speakers? What are these female students talking about, Lisa?
I think they are talking about the lecture assignment.
Okay. Okay. What do you think? What do you? Yeah. Go ahead.
Chen and Julie talking about lecture, and they're talking about the assignment of are given of by the teacher, marketing.
Okay.
And then they are exchanged about the information about assignment.
Okay.
The subject, the training, then they can learn about advertising. And the last I just heard that they talking about the lecture.
Okay. Good. Thank you very much. Yes, yes, you can try. Yes, you can try.
Let me continue her answer.
Yes.
I think they are talking about the lecture. Then maybe they're talking about the presentation, and they focus on the marketing strategy. Then they were talking about the professor and his advice for advertising, analytics, and business strategy. Finally, they're talking about the last week assignment, and yeah, that's all.
Okay, good. Thank you. May you remind you remind us who you are? That's not.
Yeah, teacher. It was on academic. Yeah, education, academic.
Okay, okay. That's Risa. Risa, yeah. It was the subject of discussion was educational. It was an academic subject. Thank you very much, Risa. All right, good.
Yeah, yeah.
Good. Thank you very much, you guys, for your contributions and for your interactions. So let us go straight ahead and listen to our last recording for today's class.
Section 4. You will hear the beginning of a lecture about the Pleasanton Town Market. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Good afternoon. In the last few lectures, we've been covering the social and political pressures that influenced the rise of the rebellion of 1679. Today, I would like to focus on the Pleasanton Town Market. Now, why are we talking all about some market? It's not like it was the first market ever, or even a particularly large market. The Pleasanton Town Market is important because it is often mentioned in the literature found in the library. If you have ever been there, you have probably seen all of the handcrafted items sold there now. But what was originally bought and sold in the town market? In the beginning, the market sold products such as meats, furs, and simple tools. Over time, though, it became known as the place to find quality livestock. People came from all over the world to find the biggest and best cows, pigs, and chickens. In fact, the profits from the town market became the savior of a plummeting economy during a time of much turmoil. Not to be confused with the Reconstruction era, a period of rapid development came about in the 1660s as a result of the market's vendors contributing their profits to building up much-needed public facilities and defence, which would later make a huge impact on the outcome of the war. For many years the market flourished and began to draw in large tourism crowds in addition to the throngs of livestock customers. However, as revolutions in farming came about, more people moved to farms far from the city centre. Customers grew more and more reluctant to travel all the way to the town centre for their meats, when they could easily choose to buy from local farmers near them for a fraction of the price. With such a fall in the profits of the town's major profit generator, some quality town planning was needed. In the mayoral election of 1668, a young man of little fame just barely claimed the popular vote, none other than the now legendary John C. Wiley. Wiley's first decision as mayor of Pleasanton was to deal with the quickly failing town market. The building with the large clock was a landmark that had symbolized growth in Pleasanton for a generation. Wiley decided to use the notoriety of the town market to set an example. During the historical Rotterdam Rebellion, Wiley gave all those involved lifetime prison sentences in the very same building. It stayed a prison for about 50 more years until they transported all remaining prisoners to other facilities and turned it into the historical monument today. Now that you know the basics of the history of the Pleasanton Town Market, I will introduce your next group project. I want you to make a short film based on the real historical events that occurred in Pleasanton before and during the uprising. I will give you some class time to look through the library's reference section, but you will be responsible for conducting further research outside of class. I suggest starting by looking for information on the market itself. You'll find plenty of information. In fact, some students complain that there is actually too much information on it. On your own time, you could find family members of old war veterans to conduct interviews. Sometimes they provide wonderful insight that you wouldn't find in proper history books. But be careful, an interview that is riddled with bias is useless. I myself have some very old photographs here that you are welcome to take a look at for some inspiration. I'm lucky enough to own this one of Jim Wiley himself. Very interesting to see, but does not provide enough information to add much to your film. Feel free to take this film into whatever direction you choose. You could even do a crime thriller based on real outlaws. All you would have to do is look through the newspaper archives in the crime section during that time period. Try to get as much detail as you can, but you may end up having to draw your own conclusions. Okay, that's enough from me, so let's go on to...
That is the end of section 4. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
All right. Good. So that was the fourth recording. And let us now examine what we were able to retain, each one of us, from listening to the fourth recording, as we attempt to answer these 4 questions. Let me see who is available to begin. Okay, Risa is busy over there. He will join us very soon. Lisa, question number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you, do you think that the instructions remains the same as in the first 3 recordings?
Yeah, I think it's the same.
Okay, good. So that's one thing that we are noting in today's class, that for all of the 4 recordings, the instructions from the introducer of the recording remains the same. All right?
Yeah.
So that's one thing we've learned and taken note of. All right, is Laura there?
Yes, I'm
Okay,
here.
good. Question number 2. How many speakers are there in this recording?
There are one speaker. I think that's your teacher.
Okay, there is just one speaker, and you think it's the teacher. Good.
Yes.
All right, good. any other person in class who's just joined and who had the opportunity to listen to this recording? Let me check. No, we still remain three of us, Laura, Lisa, and Riza. And because Riza is busy, let's come back to Lisa. Lisa, is the subject discussed in this recording an everyday social life subject or an educational or academic subject?
I think an educational.
Okay. Uh,
Yeah.
What makes you think it is an educational subject?
Because I heard the teacher talking about the basic of the history of town market.
Okay.
I think it's maybe a academic subject.
Okay. All right. And do you have any inputs, Laura? What makes you think that this is an academic subject?
Me?
Yes, yes.
I see she said the thing about I don't know, right? Because the teacher is talk about the town market, and then she's give the assessment to the student
Section
to
4.
do the market.
You will hit.
So maybe it's educational.
Yeah, it is. You're right. You're right. So somewhere within the recording, within the speaker's speech, she makes mention of the word lecture. And we know that lectures are usually given within an educational or academic context. And as she rightly pointed out, she gives out an assignment to the students. So you're right. Both of you are right, Laura and Lisa. This recording is set in an educational or academic context. And thank you all for your contributions. Um, did you notice in the course of listening to these four recordings that there was an increase in the level of difficulty of understanding? Did you notice that the first recording was slightly easy to understand or was easier to understand, and that the last recording was much difficult to understand in terms of the subject matter discourse? Did you notice that like me?
Yeah, I think so. I agree.
Okay. So that is typical with the way these four recordings are organized in an IELTS listening test. So you will always expect that the first recording will be easier to understand, and as the recordings progress from number 1, 2, 3, and 4, that the last will become much more difficult to understand.
Yes.
Good. You also noticed in the course of the listening to the recordings that there was a time when there was total silence. Did you notice that?
Pardon?
Did you notice that within each recording there was a moment of silence? There was silence and you couldn't hear anything.
It's very fast.
Okay. So what I'm asking is, at one point, I want to get you to come back to this diagram, this picture that I shared with you earlier on, where you have the few seconds of silence that follow after the introducer, and other few seconds that follow up the main speakers in each of the recordings. And I could hear some of you call my attention to the fact that the recording wasn't playing any longer. And I was trying to remind you that it wasn't playing because that is the way the recordings are designed. So there is that introducer who speaks, and then he stops, and then he speaks again, and then introduces part A of the recording, followed by the the main speaker or the main speakers who begin conversations or their monologues, and then another moment of silence that is followed, and then the introducer comes again to relay us to a second part of the main speaker's speech. So I just wanted to point out that you should expect those moments of silence as you listen to the recordings. Uh, do not feel at any moment that there is an interruption in the recording. That is how those things are designed. So any moment you hear, any moment you get silence, know that it is the way the recording is designed. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Good. So do you have any questions for me? We are drawing closer to the end of today's class. Do you have any questions for me regarding the class, regarding what we have
Uh,
seen so far?
uh, uh, oh, can I? How can I find the record of this lesson today?
Come again, please.
Uh, how can I find the recording of this lesson today? You have
Okay.
record, right?
Oh yes, yes. I'm gonna upload this on YouTube, and then I'm gonna create a link
Yes.
Oh,
on WebTalk.
thank.
Yeah, on WebTalk, and then you can have access to it. I can also send one privately to you if you are on Google Drive. If you have a Google Drive account,
Yeah.
I can be able to send a copy to
Teacher,
you. Yeah.
yeah, share it on WebTalk. Share it
Yes.
on WebTalk. That time we can watch it on WebTalk and comment on that. Okay.
Yes. Yes. Thank you very much, Risa. Thank you very much. So you will get this class sent to you on YouTube, but you can also download it on your Google Drive if you have, because if you have Google Drive, then I'm gonna be able to send that to you. Okay. Any other question, Risa? Any question from you? Okay, Laura has none.
Teacher,
Yes. Laura.
excuse me, teacher. Could you have the reporting of the section 3, the the one that two students discuss about some project?
Come
Do you
again.
have the sub in there, because it's hard for me to hear, to listening.
I am so sorry. I have not understood what you just said. Come again, please.
Oh,
Um,
I think what she trying to say is she want a recording section 3. Can you give her?
Okay, she wants me to send her a copy of the recording section 3. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
I think so.
All right.
Is right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Well, because there's some hot keywords that I can hear nothing. If they have sub in there, it easy to me to understand it.
Okay. I will do that.
Thank you.
Good. Just send me your email, and I should be able to shoot that to you. Okay. You can go to.
I'm sending right now.
Okay. Do you have my email ID? Do you have my
It's
email
okay.
ID?
I'm already follow you in web talk.
Okay. Good. Good. Thank you. So I should be able to receive your email, and then I can.
Yeah.
I can send that recording to you as an email attachment. All right.
Yeah. You can put
Thank you
in
very
web
much,
talk,
ladies and gentlemen, for your time and for being part of our class today. And so, just to recapitulate our point of focus today, what our objectives for today were that you should be able to make a difference between the person introducing the audio recording and the contents within the audio recording and the main speakers. So my hope is that you've been able to make those differences. the introducer, and the main speaker. My hope is that you've also been able to have a mental picture of what an IELTS listening test recording looks like, and that you've been able to make a difference between a monologue and a conversation. A monologue is a speech presented by one person, okay? And then you have a conversation, which could be a dialogue between two people, as well as it could be a conversation between more than two people. And my hope is that you've also been able to understand the difference between the subjects that relate to everyday social life and subjects that relate to education and academics. So as you come in contact with an IELTS listening test recording, these are the things that you should already have been familiarized with, so that they don't take you by surprise, so that you do not get confused as to what the structure of the listening section of the IELTS exam is about. So a lot of people get into the exam and they're struggling to understand what the structure is. When you are in the exam, it is not time to think about what the structure is. You already know the structure and you're just going straight to answer the questions after listening to the audio recordings. And of course, following the directives and instructions given in the exam. Thank you very much. I'm gonna program another meeting, another class, and I'm gonna send invitations to you. And that should be same time next week, Sunday. But if there are any changes in the time and date, I will be able to reach out to you all and to inform you. But for now, budget your next Sunday, same time, for another class in which we will be continuing with our series on IELTS training with focus on listening. And in our next listening class, we will be looking at the content of an IELTS listening recording. So today we focus on the structure of an IELTS listening recording. Next class, we will be seeking to understand the content of an IELTS listening test recording. So come all next class with your pens and pencils and papers, ready to take down notes, because we're going to take lots of notes and we're going to share lots of ideas relating to our various and respective understandings of the lesson. So thank you all, and have a lovely day for those of you who are still in the day, and have a lovely night for those of you who are about to go to bed. Keep safe from the coronavirus, protect yourselves and your families, and see you next class. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, teachers.
Yeah.
Have a good day.